Hello, valued viewers. I hope you're all doing very well. Have you ever... Ah, a spider! Whoops. I dropped all my bombs. Why did that happen? Today we're going to look at the weapons panel and just how some of these interact together. For this example, I'm going to keep the delivery mode set to direct, and we're going to keep the weapons selector on bombs, but we're going to look at how the stations and how the quantity selections interact. First of all, let's set quantity to 1, and then let's enable one pylon. With these settings, pressing the bomb release button will only drop one bomb off the selected, in this case center pylon. Even if I hold down the weapon release button, no more bombs will release until I press it a second time. Now if I change the station selection and pick 2 pylons, but I leave the quantity at 1, now when I press the weapon release button, I still only have 1 drop. However, the second time I press the release button, the bomb will fall off of the other pylon. If I select all of the pylons, there are 24 bombs on this plane, so I will press it 24 times in rapid succession, and we can see the pattern of the bombs falling off. We could see that with each of the pylons armed, when there is one selected, the bomb system will drop from the outer pylons until they are exhausted, then move to the inner pylons, and finally the center pylon. Now let's see what happens when we set the quantity selector to 2. Now we can see with the quantity selector at 2, the bombs fall off in pairs from similar stations. Now if we set the quantity selector to 6, which is the maximum number of bombs stored at any one station, what happens? So with the quantity selector at 6, as you would expect, 3 would drop from each of the outer pylons, and then 6 would drop from the center pylon when all the outer pylons were exhausted. If we go to the highest count of 18, we can see at the highest count of 18 that it will drop off however many bombs it needs to, but following the pattern of outer stations towards inner stations. One thing I haven't shown is with the quantity selector is the interaction with the interval. I'm going to go to the extreme case of 1 second interval, and let's see what happens. One thing to note is until the 18 bombs drop, I must keep and hold the bomb release button. Now, let's look at continuous. Continuous works by basically dropping a bomb at the selected interval for as long as the bomb release button is held down. Let's pick a more reasonable interval of a quarter second. Press and hold. Continuous is a nice way to drop all of the bombs in one go without having to worry about however many are left on any given station. Salvo mode gets to be a little interesting. In this mode, it will drop 1 bomb from every station repeatedly over the period of the interval. And so it can be interesting to change the selected stations to see what happens. In this case, I'm going to press and release. In this case, I'm going to press and hold. Now let's turn all the stations on and increase the interval a little bit, so it's more obvious, but let's see what salvo does now. First, a single press. All 5 stations released. Now press and hold, and we should see all 5 stations release at 1 second intervals. Now we will look at pair mode, but we'll start with only 1 station. With only 1 station selected, even when there are multiple bombs on that station, pressing release with pair mode selected will only drop 1 bomb. Now with pair mode, let's select the matched pylons, turn off the center pylon. Pair mode does not utilize the interval timer. When paired pylons are selected, pressing bomb release will drop a bomb from both pylons at the same time. And as before, it will drop from the outer pylons to the inner pylons. Paired mode behaves a little bit odd when you have two pylons that aren't considered pairs, like the left inner and the right outer. In this scenario, it will drop a pair from the outer pylon, and then when that is exhausted, it will start dropping singles from the inner pylon. To drop all the bombs, change the interval to the minimum value, go to salvo, and then press and hold the bomb release button.